This is Photographing the West podcast, the podcast for people who love to explore the western highways and byways while photographing the landscape and wildlife. And now here's your host, Kirby Flanagan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 77 of the Photographing the West podcast, brought to you by Flanagan Photos. Don't forget to register for my Yosemite workshop, May 5 through 9, on my website at www.flanaganphotos.com. Today's guest is Elizabeth Carmel, fine art landscape photographer and cinematographer. Welcome, Liz.
Hello. Thank you, Kirby. Happy to be here.
So talk about yourself as a person and a photographer.
Oh, sure. I've been a professional photographer for about the last, 20 years, I would say. I previously had a career as working as a city planner and have a degree in environmental science from UC Berkeley. And then when my daughter was born a little bit over 20 years ago, it was the advent of digital photography. And I had a little bit more time since I wasn't working as much and started to explore, the amazing new world of digital photography. I'd always been a slide photographer before then, in the days of Fuji Velvia, and had never done much professionally, but had a pretty good collection of slides. Started my digital photography career by getting a 2.5 megapixel Nikon Coolpix from Costco. And I guess you could say it changed my life forever because it sort of took me on this great adventure of being a professional landscape photographer in partnership with my husband, Olaf Carmel. So, that's sort of how I got started. And I can go into more detail as to, how my career developed if you want, or we can cover that later, however you want to approach that.
Why don't you go ahead?
Oh, okay. So after sort of tackling the learning curve with digital photography, learning how to process images in Photoshop and, learning basically, a whole new world of photo developing, I bought a large Epson printer, probably about 16, 17 years ago. Started printing my images in a large format. Back then, there weren't a lot of megapixels available, so I ended up doing a lot of Photoshop filters so that I could make images larger, and they ended up looking a lot like watercolor paintings. And lo and behold, people sort of liked that look, and I had so many images of my local area where we live in the Sierra Mountains near Lake Tahoe, and tapped into a fairly good demand for wall art in the region. And my husband and I both started doing photographs of the local region, and he's a good woodworker and framer, and he was able to frame a lot of them up, and we started selling them out of a local coffee shop. And then one thing led to another. A gallery came and asked us to show our work there, so we showed our work in a local gallery for many years. And then back in 2006, we ended up opening our own gallery in downtown Truckee. And we've been doing our work out of that gallery ever since, and working primarily with the home decor market. I still do some licensing and some workshops, but primarily what we do are the fine art prints for people's homes and offices.
Yeah, I noticed you've taken a different approach to the business of photography, fewer workshops and more print sales, apparently. Talk about that some more.
Oh, sure. I love doing workshops. I enjoy working with the students, and I often end up learning as much as the students do at the workshops. I mean, there's so many people that are such experts in different aspects of photography, and so many of my students have been to such amazing places all over the world. So it's more of a collaboration. I used to do workshops with Mountain Light Gallery, which was Galen Rowell's gallery located in Bishop, the late Galen Rowell. And unfortunately, that gallery closed a couple years ago. And now I work with Visionary Wild, which is Justin Black's workshop organization. And I have one coming up this autumn in Lake Tahoe area with my teaching partner, Jerry Dodrell. And we'll be doing that in October So I try to do 1 or 2 workshops every year because I do get requests for those. But with my time, a lot of time taken up for, running my business and then also traveling, I'm not able to really do a whole lot of workshops.
Sure, that makes sense. You shoot with Hasselblad for your landscape photography. Why that choice, and what do you think it adds to your photography?
Oh, well, over the years, I started with a Hasselblad 40 megapixel right at the advent of medium format digital. And what it's done is it has allowed me to make my photography future proof. I'm able to take those beautiful high-res files and even files that I shot back in 2004, I can still enlarge up to 10 feet wide because of the wonderful medium format resolution and the large sensor. Now, for full disclosure, I should say that more recently, I have been shooting with a Panasonic S1R, which has a high-res mode that allows me to shoot with 190, I think it's 196 megapixel files. It's got in-camera stitching of a RAW file that allows me to have even higher resolution. And that's a little bit more portable and also shoots nice video. So I've actually made the transition over to that just in the last few months.
So is that a mirrorless camera or?
Yeah, the Panasonic S1R is mirrorless.
Okay. How does it manage to get that high resolution in megapixels?
Well, it does in-camera stitching, so it's got a high-res mode,
I see.
and the sensor size isn't that, it's a 40, I think it's a 40 something megapixel sensor, but it can stitch quite a few frames together and allows me to achieve incredible detail that was basically twice what my 100 megapixel Hasselblad could shoot.
Wow, that's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it is, and
Much,
it weighs a lot less.
yeah, exactly.
So,
Was what I was going to
yeah,
say, and
yeah,
less expensive too, I would imagine.
less expensive for sure. Yeah, and it's got high quality lenses. It takes L mount lenses, so you can use all sorts of lenses with it that are in the L mount family, and I've been really happy with it. It's part of being in the digital photography world is keeping up with technology, and always, there's always great tools for us photographers to experiment with and find what works as we go forward.
So you're okay with the mirrorless format. Some people still want to stick with the DSLR.
Oh, I like mirrorless. I have experience. I've shot with the Sony mirrorless cameras, and it's a little different because you're looking at everything. You're not seeing a live preview of the shot, but I find that I actually it's easier for me to visualize what I've been shooting and see what I've been shooting just through the playback in the viewfinder. In a way, it's like my brain can interpret that a little bit easier onto print by actually seeing what I've shot on playback in the viewfinder. And I find that is a really great tool. And I've also been doing more video work lately, and like the fact that, the video capabilities of the mirrorless have been really good as well.
Right. Yeah, they have that reputation. All right.
Yeah.
So changing gears a little bit, how do you go about making unique landscape photos when everything's been shot a million times?
Uh, well, one thing I've learned from my workshops, and also since my husband Olaf is involved in photography, people will be able to go out and look at the exact same scene, and you'll see as many different visions of it as there are people shooting it. I think we all see things differently, so it's just a matter of looking for my own perspective. And I'm a big believer in the magic hour philosophy of photography. Things look a lot better, during the magic hours of sunrise and sunset. And I don't think cloud and lighting formations are quite ever the same. So it's just a matter of watching the weather and making the effort to get up early and stay out late if you need to.
Okay. You're also a cinematographer. Do I understand that right?
Yeah, I enjoy sort of adding that extra dimension to seeing nature, and I think that it's something that I'm enjoying learning about, and I think it's expanding my skill set in two different regards. I have a small production company, and we do pro bono work for local nonprofits. And we recently, I'll partner with other filmmakers in the area, and we recently finished a 22-minute documentary on an organization called Trails and Vistas, which does wonderful art installations out in nature, and it's an annual event that is pretty well known in our local community. But we wanted to branch out and provide a documentary to them so that they could sort of tell the world about this amazing art program that's in the Tahoe region. And so we're going to be doing the film festival circuit with that. And then I also do what I call ambient art videos through my other venture called naturestream.tv. That's a way for people to turn their televisions into an ambient art display. And I'm currently doing a lot of filming for that. And so they're both two ventures. I have so many thousands of still photographs that I was like, well, it's time for me to, sort of branch out and do something else, because how many more thousands of photographs can my poor customers handle looking at after a while? And this is a way to do something a little different, but still, be outdoors and sharing the amazing places that I'm able to see.
So how does that work for you as part of your business?
Oh, well, for Artemis Productions, which is the documentary work, that's something I just do as a community service, a way of giving back to the community. I don't really have a lot of revenue from that. NatureStream TV, we eventually want to possibly provide an Apple TV app or another, get into the streaming business with that. Right now we sell DVDs of our videos through the gallery, and that's been successful. And then we also have a YouTube channel, which we provide our content for free on. We're trying to sort of build a following via YouTube, and then eventually I think we'll branch out, look at streaming platforms in order to monetize it.
So is that the sort of thing that you might find in a doctor's office or a hospital waiting room?
Yes, I think that's a great point. I've noticed that, when I've been to the dentist, sometimes they'll have these sort of calming scenes on their monitors where they also show your dental x-rays on. I think that's something we could look at doing is providing those to in the health industry. Because I do think there's huge health benefits to, if you can't be outside or go for a walk, sometimes just watching, images of nature on a beautiful TV screen can help calm you down and lower your blood pressure and ground you, and especially in this day and age when there's so much going on and there's so much stress in the political environment. I think this could be a counterbalance to that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So what gear and software do you use for your videos?
So I use a Red 8K helium camera system for my videos for the most part. And the reason I picked the Red camera was that each frame of that, amazingly, is 40 megapixels. And if I'm shooting in full 8K and I have an amazing scene, I can pull a frame out of that and actually sell it as a print in the gallery. And I've done that a couple times with some of my recent footage. I was filming bears fishing for salmon here at a local creek up in the Tahoe area. I was able to get some great frames out of that and add them to the gallery. So it's sort of a 2-for-1. I get some amazing footage, and then if I get something that I'm really happy with, I can also turn it into a print in the gallery. So that's what I'm using for a lot of my video work. One of the issues with that system, though, is that it's pretty darn heavy. So I have to be a little bit careful about, where I choose to film with it, because it's not the kind of thing you're going to hike 5 miles with. So that's why the Panasonic S1R is really good. If I'm going somewhere off the road a ways with my bike or skis or hiking, the Panasonic's a little more portable system, but there's nothing like that amazing red camera, and it allows me to do some great video of water in slow motion and oceans in slow motion, which you can't really get with any other system, at least at the 4 and 6K resolutions. So that's my hardware, and then I use Canon lenses with that. I've got a Canon lens mount, and then I've always been a subscriber to the Adobe Creative Cloud, and with their subscription program, I have all those apps, so I use Premiere Pro for all my video editing.
Okay. Do you use a video tripod for that heavy camera?
Yes, I use, I have, a standard video tripod with a head. And then more recently, I got this great robotic head made by a company called Rhino, RHINO. And what it allows me to do is put the video camera on top of the robotic head and do sort of a slow motion, perfect pan on a slider across a scene. It's sort of like the same kind of system you see with time-lapse photographers, except mine aren't time-lapse. They're just sort of slow motion videos. That's been great, because it's added sort of a way to create some visual interest with a video scene without having to do the hand panning.
Right. So does that allow you to set the amount of time for the pan and the direction and all those things?
Exactly. Yeah. So I've been doing pans where I'll be recording at 8K at 60 frames a second with like a 3-minute pan. And that provides, a nice amount of visual interest, for the ambient art videos without it just being stationary. It makes it a lot easier to provide a nice smooth motion throughout the image.
And the red camera has autofocus?
Oh no, I wish it has autofocus, but it's not usable.
Oh, okay.
But with landscape work, it's got some great focus peaking tools so that I can clearly see what's in and out of focus. And a lot of my images are, grand vistas that I've been doing video work on. And so it's not an issue to focus with that. But yeah, it's there's autofocus in video is still not quite developed enough to trust it, because you can ruin a whole video if it suddenly starts searching for focus.
For sure. So you have to manually focus throughout the panning, or
Well,
go ahead.
yeah, normally what I'm doing is, like I said, doing sort of a broad vista where I can set the focus, and the focus point's not really changing throughout. But yeah, I mean, there's also the ability to pull focus as needed throughout. The Rhino equipment actually allows you to also automate focus pulling as well. So that's also an option with that if I'm doing a scene where I do need to change the focus point.
Okay. Sounds like a neat system.
It is. It's been a lot of fun as with anything in this business, there's a bit of a learning curve, but it's definitely been a new, fun new kind of equipment to learn. So yeah, I'm enjoying that.
Good. So you have galleries in Truckee and Calistoga, California.
Yeah, we actually sold our Calistoga building, the commercial building where it was, back in 2018, and consolidated those galleries up to our one gallery in Truckee. It was a great gallery. We enjoyed having it there, but we found that it was just too much work to operate 2 galleries. As our daughter went off to college, we said, oh, we'll close down one of them and consolidate, and that gives us time to travel more and enjoy the lifestyle a little bit more.
So how does your remaining gallery work for you as far as the business side?
Oh, it's great. We've had that was our first gallery, the one in Truckee, and we opened it in 2006. So we've been around a while, and we have 3 wonderful women who work with us, our art consultants. They cover manning the gallery most days, or womaning the gallery, I should say. And, most of them, they've been with us over 10 years, know everything inside and out, and I couldn't do what I do without them. They're wonderful people and provide excellent customer service to everyone who comes in. They're a big part of why we're able to keep doing this. Then, our community has been so supportive of us from the very beginning, and we have customers from all over, but most of our customer base, I think, is in California and in Nevada, Reno, Nevada area. So they're the reason why we're able to do what we do as well.
So for those that don't know, Truckee's on I-80 at the top of or just below Donner Pass. It's a pretty small community. So I'm wondering how you managed to keep the gallery going in a town that size.
Oh, it's a small community. We're not a big. We're basically a mom and pop operation, and we are able, serve customers. We get so many visitors in the area, and we're able to, ship prints all over the country. But it's a great community because a lot of people that come up to the area, appreciate the natural environment, love the scenery, and we'll support local artists. So it seems to work, and we're happy it does.
Sure. And that's where you want to live, so it makes it great.
Yeah, we've been living there since the 90s. I moved to the area in 93. We've been there a long time.
Part of the community now, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, great. Are you still doing books and articles?
Don't really do as many books. I've done my 2 books, Brilliant Waters and The Changing Range of Light. And those were a lot of fun. They're both still available, and we sell them at the gallery, and I think they're also available on Amazon. And I did do some writing for Outdoor Photographer. I know they've gone through some changes. I'm still listed with them, but even though I haven't done an article in a while, so I'll probably need to reach back out to them and do that, because I enjoy doing that. It's just one of those things, finding the time to do and pursuing it. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'll do any future books now that I'm sort of more into exploring the filmmaking side of things, but definitely open to doing more articles.
Okay. Yeah, Outdoor Photographer has changed owners in the last year or 2, I guess.
Okay, yeah. So I know, and I think the magazine industry is definitely suffering right now. I just heard that PDN, Photo District News, which I've always been a subscriber to, had to fold recently. So that was sad to hear. And they were a great source for information about all parts of the photo industry. So that was sad to see.
Yeah, I think the magazine industry is slowly dying.
Yeah, it's and what part of our push to do more video work is, I think to deal with that changing kind of dynamic in the industry.
Right. So your husband Olaf is also a photographer. How does that work with 2 photographers in the family?
You know what? It works great because we can both critique each other's work fairly mercilessly, and and then if you're not a photographer and you're traveling with a photographer, it can be infuriating, for non-photographers to be dragged along on photo trips. So it works well because, we both want to get to the place at the right light and the right time. In fact, we're getting ready today to leave on a couple day photo trip over to Point Reyes on the coast. And, we're both sort of on the same kind of timeline, and it's actually, it makes it a lot of fun. So we enjoy that. And our daughter, who's now 20, she's in college now, but she grew up being dragged along on all our photo trips, and is now a very good photographer herself. So as a family, we enjoy traveling together and doing that kind of thing.
Oh, that's great. Is Olaf a videographer too, or?
No, he's not really pursued that as much, although I think he's said that he wants to get into learning about doing more sound recording, and that would be great because that's a big part of video as well. Usually we're both out there, and I can be doing video, and he can be capturing stills, and it works well.
Good. Yeah, being a professional photographer can be hard on a marriage, so having you both doing the same thing, I guess, works well, it sounds like.
It does, for sure. And I think we both have two different kinds of photographic styles, and between the two of us, we're able to have a fairly broad appeal to our customers who are looking for wall art. I think it'd be much harder for each one of us to be doing this individually. It almost takes two people to make a go of it in the gallery world together. So it's worked out quite well.
Good. So before we go, where can people find you and your work?
Yeah, you can find out more about me at my websites, elizabethcarmel.com. And then our gallery website is thecarmelgallery.com. So that's THE carmelgallery.com. And then from there, you can also see a lot regarding the all my other links to my video work and that kind of thing. And but those are two good places to start.
Okay, sounds great. So thanks for being on Photographing the West, Liz.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you, Kirby. And I appreciate the chance to speak with you.
Please come back soon for another visit if you have the time. And show notes can be found at www.flanaganphotos, spelled FLANAGANPHOTOS.com. We'll see you back on February 29th when we'll be doing our first video podcast on compositing with Jim Zuckerman. Bye for now, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening to Photographing the West podcast. Please subscribe to the podcast in iTunes and leave us a review. Till next time, here's wishing you safe travels and good light.